Hello and welcome. Today we're bringing you some of the unluckiest cricketing moments you will ever see. Get ready to be amazed as we dive right in. First up, we have England's Harry Brook getting dismissed in bizarre fashion. During the first test of the 2023 Ashes, Nathan Lyon bowled an off-spinner to Brook around the leg stump. Normally, you'd either leave a delivery like this or try to whack it behind square for a boundary. Brook tried playing it at first, then bailed out as the ball spun further away from him. But in a cruel twist of fate, the ball came off his front leg, ballooned straight up into the air, and came crashing down right onto his stumps. The result seemed so unlikely that Brook wasn't even following the ball as it went up. Honestly, who could have expected the ball to clip the stumps from that far down the leg side? Lyon, on the other hand, was pretty happy. This wicket was as fortuitous as they come. Here we have something similar from the 2025 Test series between England and India. The third test was going right down the wire thanks to some resistance from Ravindra Jadeja and India's lower batting order. With 23 runs left to win, Mohammad Siraj tried fending off Shoaib Bashir's loopy off-spinner with a dead bat, and he did succeed in playing it with a full face, only for the ball to drop right at his feet and then roll back into the stumps. It was an agonizingly slow dismissal and a rather painful one for India as well. All that hard work only to fall short at the hands of a dismissal like this one. Sort of an anti-climax if you think about it. But that's cricket for you. You never really know what to expect. Damien Fleming started his Test career in the best way possible, with a hat-trick against Pakistan. And the talented Aussie would have had another hat-trick as well if it wasn't for some bad luck. During a Test match against India, Fleming took 2 wickets in 2 balls. He ran in for the third, got the batsman to edge the ball straight to slip, only for Shane Warne to spill a straightforward catch. The Aussies were distraught, but none more so than Warne himself, who had his head in hands in disbelief. It's pretty obvious how he was feeling about that missed chance. Kudos to Fleming though, who was quick to console his buddy. Unfortunately, Fleming wouldn't get another chance like this again as injuries brought his promising career to a halt. He retired with just 20 tests to his name. Remember how England won the 2019 ODI World Cup? That final against New Zealand was nerve-wracking to say the least. And to be fair to New Zealand, England did have a lot of luck riding their way as well. Before Ben Stokes inadvertently sent Martin Gupta's throw to the boundary for 4 extra runs, he was almost caught by Trent Boult on the boundary. With 22 runs left of 9 balls, Stokes skied one straight into Boult's hands, only for the Kiwi bowler to step on the boundary cushion. If he had successfully completed that catch, the match might have never gone to a super over. And we all know how that turned out. New Zealand really had everything going against them in this final. You know what they say about taking your chances because you don't always get too many? Nathan Lyon provided us with a perfect example of this during the 2019 Ashes. During the same match where Ben Stokes played one of the best Test innings of all time at Headingley, Lyon had the chance to deprive England of a miraculous win. With just 2 runs left to win, Jack Leach found himself stranded in the middle of the pitch after Stokes turned down a single. This wicket was all Australia needed to win, but as it turns out, Lyon would fumble the return throw, allowing Leach to make his ground. And to rub salt on their wounds, Stokes survived an LBW shout on the very next ball that was actually supposed to be out. We could say fortune favours the brave, or maybe Australia just weren't having a good day. The next over, Stokes belted Pat Cummins to the boundary for 4, and the rest, as they say, is history. There is no doubt that South Africa is probably the unluckiest team in world cricket. Bottled jobs, bad weather conditions, idiotic rain rules, and some stubborn time schedules have all contributed to their horrible luck when it comes to knockout games in World Cups. The 1992 ODI World Cup semi-final against England was no different. The Proteas required 22 off 13 before rain intervened and took 3 hours off the game. The revised target now read 22 off 7 balls. And then, to make matters much worse, the broadcaster's time schedule had to be met, which meant the match had to end even sooner, meaning the poor South Africans were now given the revised target of 22 off just the one ball. It was a complete travesty, and even the Englishmen felt that way. Thank God we have reserve days and DLS now, because no one wants to see that again. Here we have Andre Russell getting run out in the freakiest manner possible. During the BPL game, Dre Russ dabbed the ball to short third and took off for a single. Mahdi Hassan launched a throw at the striker's end, where the ball clipped the stumps. Now, Russell's partner had made it back to his crease, but in a dramatic twist, the ball changed its direction and ended up rolling into the stumps at the other end. Russell was understandably caught off guard because he had been casually strolling to the non-striker's end when the ball overtook him and abruptly ended his innings. This is probably the first time we've seen a fielder hit both sets of stumps with just the one throw. Talk about a lucky dismissal, or in Russell's case, an extremely unlucky one. Alistair Cook was caught up in something similar during England's tour of India in 2012. During one of the test matches, Cook was standing on a well-made 190, just 10 shy of a well-deserved double hundred. After Kevin Peterson turned down a single, Cook turned back to the non-striker's end and would have made it back safely as well. But that's not what happened. Instead, he backed out at the last second to avoid the ball, only for it to sneak under his outstretched arms and straight onto the stumps. He immediately realized what had happened because he sank to his knees while the Indians celebrated their lucky break. Imagine being unable to get a guy out for so long that he ultimately backs away from the crease himself so you can run him out. Jeez. Pakistan seemed destined to win the 2022 T20 World Cup. They had defied the odds in typical Pakistan fashion, from almost getting knocked out in the group stages to making the final against England. Their recovery was aided by Shaheen Shah Afridi's return from injury. The left-arm pacer had been on a tear, taking wicket after wicket since his return. And despite Pakistan's below-par total in the final, he set them up nicely with a first-over wicket yet again. But luck soon ran out for the men in green, as Shaheen was unfortunately injured again during the match. He was replaced by Iftikhar Ahmed's part-time off-spin, and England took full advantage of that. The blow deflated the Pakistani players, and England ultimately won the match by a decent margin. Who knows, maybe if Shaheen had stayed in the game, his extra 11 deliveries might have made a difference. During an ODI between New Zealand and India in 1994, the legendary Sachin Tendulkar got dealt with the most wretched of hands. Quite literally, standing at the non-striker's end, he ventured out of his crease ever so slightly after the batter smacked the ball down the pitch. The ball took a deflection off the bowler's hand and crashed right into the stumps before Tendulkar could make it back. It was a disappointing end to a wonderful innings. The poor man was batting at 115 before bad luck intervened. This isn't the most uncommon occurrence in cricket. Numerous batters have fallen prey to similar dismissals, but it doesn't make it any less unlucky for those involved. Getting out at 99 is one of the worst feelings for a batter, but if you're batting on 99 and the last wicket falls at the other, leaving you stranded, that's got to feel even worse. The very same happened to Jonny Bairstow during the fourth test of the 2023 Ashes. He was on 49 when England's ninth wicket fell. With Jimmy Anderson now at the crease, Bairstow took the fight to the Aussies and started belting them left, right and centre. He reached 99 in quick time and was a run away from a fantastic 100, but that 100 never came, as Anderson got out LBW while trying to bring Bairstow on strike. This is always a risk for players when they're batting with tail-enders, but that doesn't make it better. It was good to see that Bairstow didn't wallow in despair. However, an appropriate reaction to some terrible bit of luck. The second test of the 2005 Ashes is widely regarded as one of the best test matches of all time. Australia had slid to 220 for 9 in their chase of 282, and England were on the verge of victory. It was at this time that Brett Lee and Michael Kasparov stepped up, putting together a brilliant partnership that brought them within 3 runs of the target. Unfortunately, there was still another twist left in the tail. Steve Harmison bowled a brutish bumper to Kasparov, who gloved the ball behind to the keeper. Billy Bowden raised his finger and England won an enthralling match, a victory that essentially revived English cricket at the time. It was later discovered that Kasparovic's hand was off the glove at the time of contact with the ball, meaning he wasn't actually out. We can't blame the umpire for this one because it wasn't very obvious, but really, that's just unlucky, guys. Here we have a heartbreaking test match loss for England against New Zealand. The second test of the 2023 series between the two sides saw England 2 runs away from victory. The only issue was that they had just the 1 wicket left. Jimmy Anderson was on strike, Neil Wagner had the ball in hand, and almost in an anticlimactic ending of sorts, Wagner bowled a delivery down the leg side and Anderson flicked it straight into the keeper's hands. Getting caught behind down the leg side is never a visually appealing dismissal. Plus, you need some torrid luck to get out in this fashion, especially when you're 2 runs away from victory. Poor Anderson was heartbroken, and why wouldn't he be? He'd just been hard done by Lady Luck herself. Brett Lee had the most brilliant yet gut-wrenching end to his playing career. Playing in the final of the 4th ever BBL, Lee was tasked with defending 8 runs off the last over. The equation came down to just 1 run off 3 balls. Obviously, Lee was never going down without a fight, and 2 wickets in the next 2 balls meant the opposition needed 1 run off the last delivery. And would you believe it? The batter swung the ball straight to the fielder in the circle. The throw went straight to a young Moises Henriquez at the non-striker's end, who had ages to run the batter out, but he fumbled the ball as a disappointed Lee looked on. It was an agonizing finish to the match and to Lee's legendary career. He had come so close only to lose via a Misrunout chance. Talk about an ill-fated ending. And lastly, we have a dropped catch so awful we have no option but to attribute it to just plain bad luck for both the fielder and the bowler. Jofra Archer had just gotten Kane Williamson to lob one straight to Joe Denley in the circle. Do you know how hard it is to get Williamson out in the first place? Here, he'd given England a chance so easy they should have gobbled it up. But instead, Denley put down what would have been the easiest catch of his career. All the while, Archer was running down the pitch celebrating. He eventually realized what had happened and could only laugh in disbelief, because good heavens, that was a terribly unlucky sequence of events. And there you have it, folks, some of our unluckiest moments from the cricketing world. As always, be sure to like and subscribe for more crazy compilations from the gentleman's game.